not have any idea as to what's happening in physics or chemistry or whatsoever. So just you being their parents, giving the child some moral support is a lot. So if you realize that your child is staying up like 3 o'clock in the morning and whatever time before you go to bed, you could stay a little longer with them, bring them a cup of tea, let them know that you are there, giving them the support. Ensure that if they have their siblings, the siblings are not bothering them, that the siblings are engaged somewhere else to give them this time to study. Of course, children do have their chores and they have to do the chores. So, right now, parents, it is your duty to help your children balance this time. So, if you can assist them with a timetable, that would be awesome. So, when they come from school, they know, okay, I have to wash the dishes. So, as soon as I come from school, I am going to um, take a little break from school, relax, especially if they walked home from school. Then I'm going to have something to eat. Afterwards, I'm going to wash these dishes, take a bath, take a little break again, and then go into my studies or whatever way it is for the child or for you. But ensure that you do not put extra pressure on these children to say, okay, just your book you want to go into, and you're not doing anything in the house, and you have to take care of your little sister. Give them this time. They really need to be at ease and they really need this time for them to study. If a child goes to bed, because some children study at different points, children have different study habits. So one child may be able to study in the noise with music and maybe some children study with music. Yes, they can. Some people's study habits are different. So if a child feels like, okay, I'm putting a little music on to study and I can study from 7 p.m. until, allow them. There may be another child that will tell you, okay, I'm going to bed and I'll wake up to study. Ensure that this child who has gone to bed puts an alarm. Make sure they have an alarm that they wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning, that they wake up to do that study. So don't tell them, oui, vie bagay you vle fe. Se lena don mou vle leve ay de kwa di mwen se study. No. Some of them do have different study habits. When I was studying, I love studying in the morning, 3 in the morning when it's absolutely very quiet. This is when I would study. So, parents, work with your children. Also, ensure that the children are studying. Ensure that they are doing some form of revision. Right now, of course, if children are doing past papers, for example, the little ones who are doing the MST and who are doing the CPEA, they may have past papers. The teachers may be sending in the Google Classroom. If you cannot operate the Google Classroom, parents, you can as well ask the teachers if it's possible to send a printout, or maybe even your phone or a computer where you can follow. If you do not know the answers, there's always Google to Google your answers and to sit with your child. As I know that parents who are working, it's very difficult and you are being tired, but this is the sacrifice, because when the children do well, aren't we very happy, Ellen? We're absolutely very happy during, yes. So during graduation, when when the children are getting all the awards, oh, we are the proud parents. Okay. Yes. So for us to be these proud parents, we have to put in the work, and you cannot just leave it on to the children sometimes. Okay, because of course, some children, they don't see the value of the education, they don't see the value of working hard, so you have to instill it in them. So of course, as I said, you can develop a timetable with them to tell them, okay, this is what you do this time, this time. Give them the past papers if you have, because I know some parents are very resourceful in getting extra help for their children. Ensure if they're not good in a subject area, if you can, you get the extra lessons. Maybe some people are saying, it's almost time. We still have a little time. That makes, because CPA is already in the middle of May. So we just have about roughly say two weeks away. And CXC will be starting again in May, about a week or two away. And of course, you may be saying after the fact, but you still have the time. And there are times in between, especially for CXC, for the studying to continue. And for CPA and MSc, MSc is in June CPA is in May. So, parents, there is still time to do some extra studies. Ensure that your children are doing what they're supposed to do. Because, as much as, yes, what they do, what you reap is what you sow. But of course, you are there to guide them. So, if a child, for example, wants to go to one of the top schools,
Say so after
and
Louis or something, right?
yes,
I
or
got
St. Mary's,
SL what?
SLCC.
Yeah.
Yes, SALCC.
Yeah.
So, yes, so if they want to go to the top schools, of course, they have to work hard for the grades. Even those doing the CPA, common insurance as we know it,
Okay.
right? They want to go to the school of choice.
Somebody say
So,
somebody said that CPA. They even thought it was cricket you're talking about.
CPEA is
Yeah.
actually what we used to call common insurance. Okay, so now it has been renamed to CPEA. The acronym for, I can't even remember exactly what, I think it's some Caribbean something.
Right. Right.
Okay, so it's replacing common insurance. So typically what we know it as common insurance. So this is what they write the exams to go to the secondary schools. So if we want the child to go to school of choice, of course they have to work hard to go to the school of choice, because some schools have the benchmark for entry. So you cannot be put in, for example, you want your child to go to St. Mary's College, and nothing is being done for this child to go to St. Mary's College, when you know that the benchmark for St. Mary's College is, say, about, I think, 80s and up.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to work hard to get this benchmark. And working hard is not waking up today and then going to write the exam. I know it all. No, you have to put in the work. So the late nights,
Mm-hmm.
staying up, mommy and daddy, and students, making a little cup of tea, encouraging, come on, you're almost done. It's okay, you're almost done. You'll have more than enough time after CPA or common insurance on CXC to rest. Okay,
Now,
so the encouragement is
now
there.
you have two things. So you have children. They either crumb, like crumb thing.
Mhm.
They bad in that, or they'll somebody will tell you, come to think of it, I'd have to study, man. You understand?
Like I
Let
said,
me just face
they
that. With that.
have,
Yeah.
yeah, like I said, there are people who are different,
Mhm.
because some children may not really sit and study for you, but you will see that every time they come from school, or maybe even the school, they revise.
All right.
They revise what they have done, they do a little something, and that is how they get the information. But you, as the parent, would find out what is happening with this child. Is this, what is my child's learning style? What is my, how does my child study? So just not leave it to say, "Iha bon," you
Mhm.
know. Mani pou gade sa ka fe. Iha bon. I ka toujou vini ep 90s li. So ma worry. Okay, never take it for granted that you know this child has to study, because some children and even some parents become complacent. They will tell you, "Oh, my child is good already. My child is a bright child."
Mhm.
But who knows, sometimes on the exam, there may be content that they've never seen, never done. And then, of course, they'll be like, shooks, I should have revised. I should have done some
And
studying.
I like it, brother, because another thing again is children have a problem in reading to understand.
Very true.
You understand?
Very true.
Sometimes the way they read or the way they actually
Interpret.
interpret things. You
Yes.
understand?
Mhm.
So it's might be
this
difficult.
is this is true, because like I was telling my daughter, when you, especially now, common insurance CPA
Yeah,
is
well, it's Caribbean Primary Exit Assessment.
Caribbean Primary Exit Assessment. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Yes. So this is what has replaced common
Common
insurance
insurance,
as we
right?
know.
Mhm.
Great. So it is now a fully multiple choice exam. And before, of course, common insurance would be a written exam. So now they have the SBA component,
Mhm.
where they have a whole project to do. So
Mhm.
they will be sending in that grade from the school, and the child has to work for the rest of the 60%.
Right.
And that is multiple choice. Some people may feel that multiple choice is easier, but it's not.
Mhm.
Because,
Explain.
reason I'm saying that, if you have, for example, something written and it's for 5 marks, right?
Right.
You may have part of the answer and get, say, 2 marks from the 5 marks if you write. But with multiple choices, either you're right or you're wrong. Okay?
Oh.
This is why I'm saying it's more difficult, because it's either you're right or you're wrong. There's no 1 mark in between or not a mark in between. Because, for example, if you're doing problem solving, you have to actually do the problem solving. The problem solving is with 10 marks. You may have missed out, for example, a number sentence, or you may have missed out something. Because you got your answer, or you have your number sentence, or you're working, or whatever, you may be able to get some marks from this problem solving. But when you have multiple choice, again, is either you're right or you're wrong. So this is why I would say, that is my opinion, that multiple choice is more difficult. So parents, please ensure that your children are focused. Don't stress them out a little. Okay, ensure that, when I say don't stress them out, parents, I mean allow them allow them the time to study. Allow them, give them that little break in between. Because if they had to be going to wash the dishes when they come home, care for the siblings, go to the garden, whatever, this time give them that little break, because of course they have to work a little harder when they come home to do some extra studies. If the siblings are keeping noise and you used to playing your music and all that, maybe you can lessen on that, at least to give them that break for them to study. And when I say break, I don't mean give them a break to watch TV and give them a break to go and sleep early. No, the break is to study, because they need to revise. It is very important. They need to revise, and parents see to it that they are revising. And parents, I know because I'm a parent of a CPEA student. So I know the stress it is for some of those who do not want to do the work, who do not want to study.
Oh.
How frustrating it can be for the parents. Parents, again, I implore you, do not give
Why?
up on your.
Is it because of laziness?
Some, like I said earlier, some of them feel like, I know it already.
Mhm.
I'm already bright. So why do I have to go and study again? Okay. Some of them feel it's too much stress on me. It's too stressful. I want to go and watch my movie, as I've been doing and playing on my tablet and so on. So why now I have to be doing extra work? Some of them do not understand. So you explain to them as a parent that, hey, you want to go to the school of choice. If you want to go to your school of choice, you have to work towards it. How would it look if, okay, the day of graduation, that you, or the day of results, that your friends have gotten the grades to go to the school of their choice and you did not get it? How would you feel? Okay, of course you'll be very disappointed, you will cry, but it is a little too late.
True.
But if you work towards it, then of course you will reap what you sow. You will reap the rewards, and of course you'll be very happy. Mommy, you'll be very proud. Daddy, you'll be very proud. And child, you'll be very proud, very satisfied.
All
So
right.
this is why today I felt the need to come in here to say, parents, work with the children,
Right.
and of course also to give them a little break from the normal routine with chores, so that you would lessen it, so that they would get enough time. Because sometimes when a child comes from school and they have so much to do, by the time they're done, they are tired. Even us adults, when we get home from work, we are tired already, very tired. So I know the sacrifice it is, because sometimes when I get home, I really just want to lie down. But of course, we have to put in the sacrifice to work with our children, sit with them, ensure that they are studying, even though we don't know the answer, even though we don't know the concept, we are there with them. We can Google something for them. We can tell them, come on, continue. You are doing great. Okay, would you like a cup of tea? Okay, you're seeing them twitching their necks. You can give them a little massage.
To relax
Okay,
them.
okay, to relax them, or tell them, okay, you have been doing that for about an hour for now. Take a little break. Come, take a little break. Okay, give them a little story to make them laugh, or play a little game. All right, now that you've taken a little 15-minute break, let's go back to it. Okay, so this is what we have to do. So you work hard for, of course, for you to reap the rewards.
And
All right.
folks, again, if you want to make a contribution, you can call us 459-7885 or 459-7888. All right. Again, 459-7885. Or you can reach us via WhatsApp at 7305388. Send your voice notes, questions, anything you want to ask. We're here. Okay, we're talking about, again, just to highlight it, what are we talking about this
We are
morning?
talking about study habits and, of course, parent support during exams.
All right. I want to big
Okay.
up to all the teachers, boy, going well, giving back. And when I say giving back, Of course, giving free classes, free lessons. Not just for
Yes.
selective, but everybody. Just
Mm-hmm.
and that's a way of finding out the children that's interested. Children that are very interested in the schoolwork. Some will get all those free lessons and will not take advantage of it.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Well, some may not be fortunate to get free lessons, but
Well,
have to pay for it.
right. Some.
Okay, some
But that hence the reason I say big up to the teachers who
teachers will give the
consider it,
free,
and they're
right?
giving free lessons, just to push your class, your children, your students forward. You understand? To
Mm-hmm.
excelling. After all, boy, one children excel is what you hear is super comprehensive, super primary, or whatever. If it's Choisel,
Mm-hmm.
if it's
Mm-hmm.
Viewfort, if it's Castries.
Yeah.
So because we have persons listening to us from the north, the south, the east, the west, and over in the diaspora. Okay, so yes.
Mhm. And parents also, there is what we call exam anxiety. Your child may have gotten ready by studying, by doing everything that they have to do. There is a chance sometimes when they get into that exam room, what happens sometimes children go blank. Has that ever happened to you, Ellen, when you're writing an
Yes,
exam?
yes.
So when you spoke about cramming earlier, this is one of the things that happen a lot when children
Even
cram.
even simple words sometimes you know the word do, but you just can't get off your head.
Yes. So children get very nervous.
Yes.
They get very nervous. They get confused. Sometimes you're reading the cow is eating the grass. This is what's written there. And you are so nervous. You have
Processes.
all this anxiety. You are seeing the cow jump over the fence
Yeah.
because already since you some children what they do when they're reading they associate, they don't read what is there, they just associate with what they know. So the cow is eating the grass, they see the cow, so automatically they know the rhyme, so they will see the cow jump over the fence. So parents, I'm saying that to say when the child does not come home with the desired grade, parents, do not beat them, do not punish them, do not lash out verbally. No, parents. Okay? Don't do that. You work with your child because you were a child too. And of course, at some point, maybe you disappointed your parents, you disappointed yourself because you disappointed yourself first. So you work with this child, especially if you know that this child prepared, especially if you know that this child prepared for this exam, and of course when they went in something went wrong, so of course you encourage them and tell them, you can do better. This is not a this is not a true reflection of your potential. Maybe something went wrong on that day, so you can do better at some point. Yes, you may not have gotten your school of choice, but of course the main thing is that you got to your second choice, you got to go to a school. So you encourage your children, don't lash out at them and call them all kind of names in the books and start comparing them to their classmates. No, parents, no.
Another thing again, there's always the report book for reproving, right? Because the teachers normally put a statement in there saying like how the child perform
Mm-hmm.
in that term, the term before, and all that. So yeah,
Mm-hmm. There
parents can
is,
actually see the performance of the children from
mm-hmm,
the grades,
definitely.
and of course, if there's supposed to be some requirements,
Yeah.
right?
You see, there are some parents, and I will share a joke that my daughter once said. Yes, I value education. Let me tell you, I value education because I've always had my mantra is the way out of poverty is through education.
Oh.
So my first daughter, she said that I'm being so hard on her that once she got 100%, and she said that I said there's room for improvement.
Yeah, she see by 100, boy.
100.
Yeah.
So
So it's about 150, 120.
and that I can't remember saying that. I can't. So parents, I know there are some of you like that. There are some parents, I know that for sure, that the child is doing well and they still believe you can do better. You
Mhm.
can do better. There was a movie I was watching, and this child who performs very well at school, and I think she got 98. So the teacher called her in to congratulate the child, to reward the child and all. She laughed with the teacher. She said, okay, great. When she got to the car, she told the child, so what happened to the 2%? Did you eat it? Did you eat the 2%? Because the child got 98.
Mhm.
So she's quarreling with the child in the car. Did you eat the 2%? So yes, I know there are some parents that they benchmark is very high, the expectation is very high. Yes, it is parents, I totally understand that, but remember, you are not the one in the exam room at the time. And yes, I do remind myself of that as well. You are not the one in the exam room at the time, and this child is under tremendous pressure. Okay, so sometimes the best thing we can do for our children, give them this pep talk to tell them, I want you to do well. It's very important that you do well, and you list why you want them to do well. Because of course, if you do well, you'll go to your school of choice. There's a chance you may get a scholarship and all the good things there is to it. Okay, but let them know that no matter what, you have my support. No matter what, I love you. No matter what, I am there for you.
Another thing
Okay.
I wanted to highlight, you spoke about studying. Should one have a schedule as to study, because you're not ready, boy. The brain is something else, boy. You too, boy.
It is very important to have one. It better guides you and helps you manage your time.
Mhm.
If you don't have one, most times you may end up doing one subject
Mhm.
more than another. But if you have your set schedule, then you know, okay, it's half an hour for mathematics, then half an hour for social studies or whatever. Even if you don't have a written one, but at least have a plan, have something, a structure in place that you
Mhm.
can follow. Because if you just go in, okay, what I'll do today, what I'll do today. Okay, you know what? Let me do language. When language is not working out, you know that too hard. You take no. How are you going to learn?
Mhm.
Okay, how are you going to get somewhere
So you need
with
some
this
kind of
attitude?
balance.
You do, and some kind of structure. And even when you pick up this paper, students and parents, they pick up that paper and they feel, okay, it's a little too challenging. No, let's go through it. So this is why, again, parents, your support is needed. So you tell this child, let's go through it. Okay, we do not know that word. You have your phone, you have the computer. As I've always told students, make Google and YouTube your best friend. Some children only use their tablets for playing games. They only use it for watching whatever it is they like.
Mhm.
They're watching the cartoons and so on and
Yeah.
playing games. They don't ever use the devices for research. You can use your devices for research. So if you're doing a paper that you're not sure what the answer is, you are studying, that is when you have your device next to you. You pick up your device. Okay, so this word, caramel, what does caramel mean in whatever context? You pick it up, you Google it, you find it, write it. So studying is not just taking something, looking at it, reading it twice, and trying to put it in your brain. So studying is also getting answers, getting research on something. Okay, I am reading a question. What is chlorophyll? There are the options, because of course if we're looking at multiple choice, there are the options. What is chlorophyll? You look at chlorophyll, is the green pigment on the leaf.
Mhm.
Chlorophyll is through sunlight, whatever. You know it's around those lines. Okay, so don't just say milly mally pick and pick and then bam, B is the answer. Research, because you will have the time now to research. The day of the exam you will not. So make sure you take this paper and you write chlorophyll is that. You read it and think about it and say, oh, so that is what. Try to associate that chlorophyll to sunlight, or try to associate it to a leaf, or try to associate it with the green pigment, whatever it is, associate it. So when you see this word again, say,
Right.
yes, I researched it and this is what it is. So these are all your study techniques. So just not picking up a paper. If you're not sure about it, leave it alone and say it's too hard. Try to get another one. You research because you have your time now to research. Okay?
Another thing is that I wanted to make mention. You have parents always wanting to pick out certain subjects, or even the let me be discreet as to what I'm saying. Even want to pick out a profession for their child, especially if you want that one to just be a doctor, that one want to be you like. It's like the parents want what he or she wants for the child. How do that work? Because you know certain people, some of you choose or you help choose some kind of course, how can I put that, some kind of post, like position in
Position,
in
right?
society for your
Mm-hmm.
child, and that just don't work for your child. The subjects you want to help your child choose, your child has no interest in that.
You're saying that, I'm smiling because I know that in households where, for example, you have a household of teachers, you will find sometimes parents would want these children to follow in their footsteps and say, become a teacher as well. Okay, like I was watching an African movie, and there was this man. He was a teacher, and he insisted he wants his son to be a teacher as well. And then the child said, no, he wants to be a singer. He wants to be a musician. And he put the child out of the house and he said, no musician, that's not putting money on the table. And whatever, you're going to be a teacher. It is secure, it is stable. No, this is not your decision, parents. It is not. We as parents are there to guide our children, not to make decisions on their behalf, especially, I mean, if they're grown enough and can say, I don't want to be a teacher, I want to be a doctor. It is not your decision, it is this child's decision. We are here to guide them. And it is very important to hear what your child has to say. So you listen to your child. For example, before you choose CXC subjects, I mean, I'm speaking after the fact because it has already been done, but for future reference, you're going to choose CXC subjects for your children. How do you guide them in choosing the subjects? Don't you have to ask, what do you want? What where your passion lies? Right. So of course you are going to guide them along this and that and the other. Because when my daughter was going to write CXC, I said to her, yes, you love the sciences. This is what you like to do. But you need to have something to fall back on. So let's not look at only sciences. Let us look at something else. So in between, she did music. I tried my best to get her to do accounts as well, but it was not working out. I had to give up on it. So we have to give and take. Also, I wanted her to do both Spanish and French because I know she was good at both of them. And of course, it would give her a better advantage. But of course, she said, you're not the one writing the exam, mommy. I am. I don't want to do French. I had to take a step back because she's the one writing her exam and not me. So you made a very valid point, Ulan, where parents sometimes will be insistent that you have to be a doctor. And when you find out the children are not happy and they're not performing, they are not performing. So why have the child in a position where they're not performing, they're not happy just to please you? That should not be. It should be what the child. I can understand, for example, that for example, a child will say, um, I want to be, say I want to be a footballer, right? I don't want to do anything else. I just want to do football. Yes, I will encourage you to do football, but I need you to have something to fall back on. Because, for example, we're not saying that something is going to happen to you, but what if you get injured and you cannot play football again? What do you have to fall back on?
But you have to know how to write your name too. You have to know how to read. You have to know how to
Yes,
do maths. You have to
right. So
because
even when you know how to do that, for example, the child has gone to school, they've done the CXAs and they're good, right? And they insist this is football. No, I would still want you to have a degree in something, or have something else that if in case football does not work out, you have something to fall back on. So there's always good to have a plan A and a plan B. For example, the child likes to do business. I'm all into business. I am doing all my business subjects. Why don't do a science as well? Do a science subject as well, because who knows where you'll end up and you may need a science subject.
yeah.
Okay?
And now again, for truth, whether you want to be one of the great footballers, basketball, tennis, anything. Okay, say you went to a secondary school, right? You can use sportsmanship. You have that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you get a sponsor. How you call it? A sponsor, you call it? Like
Yeah.
to send you to maybe a tertiary level education or maybe some
Yeah.
university.
You get your scholarship, you
A
get your
scholarship,
sponsors.
right?
Yes.
And
Mm-hmm.
yes, you're very good at football. You can't write. You
There you
can't
go.
speak.
You
You
need your
cannot speak on
education.
because on platforms you need to
Mm-hmm.
come, get interactive. You can't speak. So what are you telling me
Mm-hmm.
there? Yeah.
You have to go back to school. There's no ifs, maybes, or buts about it. Because once when I was a teacher, some students would tell me, but miss, I don't need school. I don't need to learn because look, my father doing construction and he making more money than you as a teacher. Yes, your father will make more money than me as a doing construction more than a teacher. But you still need to know how to write, how to read, how to calculate.
Right.
You may have a contract you need to sign. You have to read the fine prints in the
Right.
contract as a contractor,
The rate, not even the
because
ratio
I'm
to
telling
mix it.
you. And of course, you need to give a budget as to how
Yes.
much would
Yes.
that building cost.
Hmm.
There is a lot with it. So you cannot escape education. You cannot escape education. So a lot of you who are thinking, me, I don't need no CXC. I can do it without it. So if you don't do it now, you have to do it later.
Yeah.
You will have to go back to school,
There is no escaping it.
because right now, to get a job, you have to present some kind of certification.
My, I
You
don't joke thing, huh?
have to
You
present
have
some
to be
kind of.
certified,
I'm
especially
telling
if you
you.
want certain amount of money for your time at boy. First thing I ask you, are you certified?
Exactly. But it is something else to see that even some of the low paying jobs, they ask for so much
Yeah.
qualification.
Right.
They ask for so much qualification. Yeah. So you cannot get away from it. And this is why I'm here talking about studying, so that you can get these grades to get this job. Because young people out there, when you don't get a job, what happens? Frustration.
Hmm.
You see all the crimes and everything happening because idle hands make mischief. You're out there, you cannot get a job, you cannot get anything, and of course you may end up doing the wrong thing because you need to get by. Okay, so students, even when it is important that you get your CXs, but you feel okay, um after CXC, I don't really want to go to post sec or after. That's fine. If you want to go and learn a trade, do so, but do something. Don't just sit there
Hmm.
idly.
Again,
Of
I like that.
course,
A trade.
yes, and it's very important, students, to learn a trade,
Hmm.
because it's always good to have something to help
And
yourself.
I will show you that. Thank God for that. Let's go back to COVID. Let's
Right.
go back to
So
COVID.
many people got laid off.
So many people got
Yes,
labor,
they,
and
they,
a
they
lot of
lost their
them,
jobs.
especially in the hospitality industry, yeah.
Yes.
A lot of
Mhm.
people have a, they don't have a trade.
Right.
You understand?
So, as you're saying that, I remembered something that I wanted to speak about.
Hmm.
You find that many people are kind of dependent on the jobs and dependent on others for help. But sometimes you can help yourself. You have the golden apple in your yard.
Hmm.
You have the tamarind in your yard. You have stuff. Golden apple juice,
Hmm.
golden apple jam,
Hmm.
golden apple salad.
Hmm.
You can make something to sell.
Hustle.
You can encourage even your own child, because I had this young lady. If she was with me, she would permit me to tell her name, but I won't mention her name. But there is this young lady, she's very ambitious, very outgoing. She's a well-known person in Sufre. And there she was telling me part of her life story. And I was so surprised. And she said, sometimes to get by, I had to make jam and make the tablet cocoa and do
Hmm.
these little things, or money, or buy fruits and make fruit bowls to sell to get by. And I was even more impressed with her. I was even more impressed with her by hearing her life story. So parents, you can encourage your children to do this as well, because of course things are hard. Instead of this child will go out there and ask, Mr. Olan, give me $20, and of course, you know the tendency of the men
Hmm.
when the children come to ask them the money. So of course, from by teaching your child responsibility to hustle from an early age, when they get into adulthood, you find they become more independent. So they've learned, okay, I can't do things for myself, so I'm going to continue to help myself. I'm not going to sit back to let somebody else help me,
Hmm.
but I could help
And taking
myself.
us back again with, of course, about having skill, and you had to be knowledgeable because one, you had to know how to read a measuring tape. Eh?
Mm-hmm.
All
You
right,
must.
that all that is
It
maths.
is. It
A
is
inch, half
basic
an
math.
inch, three
Yes,
quarter.
of
Yeah,
course.
you might not have a desk job or office job,
Mm-hmm.
and you might be one of the best there is in engineering in terms of construction, knowing how to mix fine cost aggregate with cement and all that. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
And doing the foundation stronger than the one that went to 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm telling you? But
Mm-hmm.
again, you have to know ratios. You have to read. You have to know a little maths. You know how to add and subtract and multiply because you want to know how many blocks you have to go and buy.
And with what you said, Ulan,
Mhm.
adding on to what you said, imagine you're the best at what you do
Mhm.
at the construction site, but guess what? The man with his paper is getting more money than
Yeah,
you, and
exactly.
you are the one doing all the
All the work,
work
yes.
because you're not
And
certified.
we in St. Lucia have every day we see that.
Every day we see
Every
it.
day,
Every
every
day.
of course sector we see that. Whether we have the Caucasian on top of you as a black one, and you know you can do the work.
Mm-hmm.
But why? Again, you have no
You have no
papers. You have no
certification.
certificate. So that's why
No
most times
certification.
you have a Caucasian on top of you. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? Yeah, man, let's
That's
put it
what
so. But it happens.
it is. It does. You
Yeah,
just
there's
sounded a
no
little.
okay. Well, there's no
Yes.
well, no racist kind of thing, but no hypocrisy about it.
Yes.
That's how I coming on like that. There's no
Yes.
hypocrisy about it
That is
because
true.
that
Yes.
is what's trending every most places.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
But and we are, and you are so right, Ellen. And we take it for granted that sometimes even the parents would tell the children, oh, ou pa briser l'école, gade mwen, mwen ta l'école, garçon na fait mizi l'argent, ou pa briser l'école, and putting this child down. And I'm coming on to some religious persons, and I'm not going to directly call you out, but you know who you are. When you say, I do not want my child at school, my child don't need that school, I don't want my child in that Babylonian system, and I don't want my child in that kind of system,
Far right.
right? And then that child is not going to school, and of course, my child is going to learn this trade, and my child is going to learn that trade. You are putting this on the child. Okay, God forbid something happens, you pass away. Where is that child tomorrow? What happens to this child tomorrow? Did the child tell you that he or she wants to continue maybe farming? Did that child tell you he or she maybe continues wanting to be a seamstress? Did that child tell you that he or she wants to continue doing mechanic? Or did that child tell you that they want to continue in the shop? Let the child go to school so they can make a decision as to what they want to do. And this is what we were saying earlier,
Mhm.
that sometimes parents choose what children want to do for them. That should not be. Yes, you guide your child. You guide your child. For example, a child will tell you, you know what? I want to, um, for example, what's something here in St. Lucia that you sometimes, okay, I want to study psychology,
Uh-huh.
right? I want to study psychology. You ask this child a question. Why do you want to do that? And not only that, because sometimes when we choose careers, we try to choose things that we want to do. We have to look at the job market as well. Okay, sometimes your passion is not enough for a job. Sometimes what is required, of course, what is needed in this country or even worldwide. Do a research, have your child do a research. In 10 years from now, would we need psychologists? In 10 years from now, would we need teachers? In 10 years from now, would we need social workers? Let them do their research as well, because this will help them determine, okay, you know what, I think 10 years from now, research shows that teachers will become obsolete because computers will be teaching children now and so
Mhm.
on. So that will not be a good profession to go into. I'm just using it as an example. This is not
Right.
facts.
So persons
Okay.
listen carefully,
Yes,
yeah,
this
yeah,
is
listen
not
carefully.
facts.
Yeah, yeah,
That is
listen
why I'm saying
carefully.
it's not facts.
Yeah.
I'm just giving an example. Okay. So there's nothing wrong in having your child do research before they make a decision as to what subjects I'm going to choose and so on. So parents, you can engage your children, have them do research. You want to do that profession? Okay, let's do some research about this profession. So profession choosing also has to do with your job, sorry, with your passion, and also the demand for this career. So, because if there's no demand, and of course, later down the line, research shows that they may not be needing
Yes.
such, why
Right.
go into it?
Because persons or some children, some students choose the
CXs, the subjects,
because of the
and
friends.
they
Yeah.
do,
Oh, my friend did it. I
right.
didn't.
And not only that, so they choose it because it's easier. They tell you science stream is too difficult,
Mm,
the business stream is easier, so I'm going into the business stream. And then what happens when you come out of school? You cannot get a job
right.
because the business stream is so saturated
Mhm.
that they only go for the ones who perform the best or
True.
so on.
True.
And it's very saturated and you have nothing to look back on and so on. Or you go and study, You get your degree, for example, in a subject area. You go and you study, for example, you go and you study social studies. Standalone, have a degree in social studies. Um, Again, I am making an example. I'm never saying do not do that. Please listen to me carefully. So I'm just giving an example, okay? Because I know of persons who do have degrees in social studies and are doing great, who are doing wonderfully. Respect you to that, okay? But I'm just giving an example. So sometimes you study, you have a degree in this, and then you come back, you cannot get a job. It is very difficult to get a job, okay, because I had some friends who had degrees in certain areas and it was very difficult for them to get the job that they wanted, okay, because of the demand in St. Lucia of what it is that they want. So, for example, you went to study, like I said, social studies, and you come back, and the only thing you can do with that social studies is teaching. Okay. And of course, you don't want to be a teacher. You want to do something else. You wanted to go into the folk research center to work with history and so on, but this job is not available.
Right.
So I'm just saying, before you go and study, or even before you choose your subject areas, it's good to do some
And what the
research.
research said about 10 years down the line, like 5 years from now.
Yes,
Yes,
you
you
don't
understand?
research for now. You
You have to check on
find,
the economy and all those kind
yes.
of stuff, so you don't
See,
know you well seated.
see the jobs that are more in demand. What
Mm-hmm.
jobs will be in demand in the next 10 years?
Yes,
Okay?
yes.
And something else. Don't say that I don't have no passion for that. And because I've heard so many people say, I when like a young person growing up, right? I had some friends and I used to tell them, I was always, let me tell you, it has been my mantra from a young girl. My way out of poverty is through education. And I used to encourage, go, let's go. Let's go to school. Let us do our subject areas. Let us do our studies. Let us do this because it's all about education. And they'll tell you, me, I don't like school. I don't like education, but you still at some point in your life have to go back to it. Or for example, when that time to get a job, it was maybe teaching that was available, and they tell me, I don't want to teach, I'm not going to teach, I don't want to teach. and and tomorrow and tomorrow um you chose the teaching. Maybe you didn't really want to teach, and you chose teaching and they did not, and you find maybe they went into a store to work and all, and 10 years down the line sometimes you end up being in the store, and this person who went into teaching did use teaching as a stepping stone, taught, then got out, then moved on to something else, and then you'll turn around and say, only if I knew. Okay, you were saying something.
I was saying like similar, like similar to myself. I always had electronic as a passion, but not broadcasting. But then
Mhm.
you see, I ended up jumping into broadcasting because again, at the time it was kind
The
of
job
low
that's
for
available.
electronics. You
Yes.
understand?
Yes. Okay. And right now I am sure that you can do it as a backup.
Yep.
You do it on your own.
Yep.
And this is what I'm
Yep.
saying. So sometimes, yes, your passion may not lie in broadcasting, but you got the opportunity, take it.
True.
Any opportunity you get, take it. You use it as a stepping stone.
Facts.
Your resume looks nice, when it has different things on it. That, of course, I worked at a radio station, and I worked in fisheries and forestry, and it looks very good because of, you can never have too much experience. You can never have too much experience. So never say, okay, I don't feel like doing this because you know what? I don't want to do this. Know that when you go into this, for example, you don't like teaching. Know that, okay, when you go into teaching, you plan that I am not going to be stuck in teaching. I'm not going to stay in teaching for the rest of my life. I am going to get out. So you use it as a stepping stone. You use it for experience. Use it, but who knows? Sometimes you end up teaching and being in love with teaching and staying there,
Right.
because sometimes your passion is developed. You find out about your passion later on in life. Okay, so never give up, or let an opportunity pass by to say, me, I don't want this and I don't want that and I'm not doing it. No. Because, like I was saying to somebody, okay, you don't have a job, you want a job. This is a job that is presented to you at the time. Okay. For example, I want to be an accountant. At the time, I am out of a job. Okay. And the only job I'm getting is accounting. Maybe I have a little something in
Mm-hmm,
accounting.
mm-hmm,
Sorry, I want to be an accountant and I'm not getting an accounting job. The
mm-hmm.
only thing that is available right now is to be a cashier. Don't say me. I have my degree or I have my thing in accounting and it's cashier. I'm not doing that. And you don't have a job. You do it. You climb the ladder.
Mm-hmm.
You start, you do it. Okay? You do the cashiering. From there, you move up the ladder. Okay? And sometimes when you do the cashiering, boom, an accounting job comes
Yeah,
by. And
yeah.
you turn back and say, wow, that experience I got with cashiering, at least I learned something else. Again, something else to fall back on. Okay?
It's like starting as a teller and you happen to be the manager.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So never give up on something to say, that is not what I want, and I'm not going to do this, and I'm not going to do that.
All right.
Okay?
Well said. 12,
Definitely not.
12 o'clock in Super St. Lucia and this and the Eastern Caribbean. Let me shout out to everybody on Facebook. Big up to Delta Bowen. Shout out to Stephen Edwards. All right, big up everybody. All you guys over at the spas. We have plenty of persons over at the spas on the lockdown as well.
And MNC.
Yeah, Emmons. Now we have a lot of persons locked on. All right, Sensi, big up Stacy. We shout out all to all you guys. Hey, Rice Berries, everybody. Locking it down to all our avid listeners. Hey, thank you again. Thanks for making it 88.5 Super FM. Thanks for being part of our family. All right. Well, Renita, any last words before we?
Just saying that family matters will be put on a little pause again, unfortunately,
Mm,
because next week will be is a national holiday,
right.
and of the two other Wednesdays I will be out. So we will resume as soon as I return.
Okay.
Okay. So of course, when I resume, I have a very special
Uh
guest
huh.
lined up. I have some very special guests lined up. So I want to make this program a little even more interesting and more exciting. And listeners, I would love for your feedback,
Mm-hmm.
for you to be calling in.
All right.
All right. Thank you for all your listeners out there.
What I'm gonna do in your absence, because we have some amazing show, some great show. I'll just do a
Yes,
repeat
that
broadcast.
would be awesome.
A repeat
Awesome.
broadcast.
Very much so.
Okay, in your absence.
Yes. Thank you so much for that, Ellen.
All right. Let me shout out to environmental health. They're always locked on. So big up to the staff over at environmental. Hey, Ebel. Big up to Lamontaine and everybody else over there. All right. Yay. That concludes family matters. So again, like Renita did mention, she's gonna be absent. So in her absent, I'm gonna be doing some rebroadcasts for some of our amazing shows. Okay. Hey, this right there was again, like I mentioned, Family Matters. Tune in next time for another. Hey, enjoy what's left of your Wednesday. Have an awesome day. Likewise, the rest of the week. All right. Big up to all you celebrating your birthday today. Happy birthday to all you. Anyways, we
Definitely.
out. With 88.5.